Arg, ye mateys, time to raise the black flag, for there be kobolds ahead. For it seems that the fellows over at Kobold Press have decided to unleash the first playtest packet of their new core fantasy role-playing game, also known as the Project Black Flag. So we are going to sit down here and review this little gem. But before we do, so you all ye mateys know, there be a humble bundle in the description down below. Both Kobold Press and a lot of their sea mateys have gathered together to give you all kinds of great PDF booty for your RPG playing needs. Not only do you get the core rulebook and the player's guide to old school essentials and some great adventures from the people over at the Kobold Press, but you get lots of little goodies to power any RPG adventure, whether you be playing the traditional Dungeons and Dragons or their brand new Project Black Flag. Plus, if you use the link in the description down below, you can also help support this channel. And now on to the review of the Project Black Flag. That's no joke. That voice is actually harder to maintain than I thought. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Swamp Dog Games. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at Project Black Flag. Oops. If you're unfamiliar with what's led up to this point, WotC decided to unilaterally try to destroy a 20-year community trust by trying to go after the open gaming license that had been used to power many an RPG across the land. Kobold Press said, "We shall not take this line down. We'll create a new open RPG product, call it Project Black Flag, and go forth and save the RPG community from them evil imperialists over at WotC." WotC since relented, and we're going to get this playtest packet from Kobold Press. Their goal was to create a 5th edition compatible RPG with much more open philosophy, I'm assuming they meant by not using OGL mechanics to present this new RPG so it could still remain compatible, but could be open sourced with the new Orc license that's supposed to be irrevocable. Taking a quick look at this, I know they had said that they were going to remain compatible, but I had assumed in my own mind that when they said compatible, they were going to be doing something like a D100 system instead of D20, or maybe use a D6 system that had a bell curve progression chart that kind of could be compatible with 5th edition adventures using the DC of a 5th edition adventure. This, however, there are more similarities between this and the Dungeons and Dragons SRD out of the box than this book. And this is supposed to be officially a 5e compatible RPG from the ground up with the SRD 5.1 compatibility OGL. And I'm not a lawyer, so do not take anything I say as legal advice. Hell, I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn last night. But I am not sure, looking at this, how legally distinct enough this is going to be from Dungeons and Dragons that they're not going to be stuck putting eventually that big new attribution clause from the Creative Commons version of the 5.1 SRD that says uses content from Wizards of the Coast, licensed under Creative Commons by International 4.0. I think that's going to have to end up in here because there is not enough in here that makes me think that this isn't just D&D. So you go through, it's most of the core mechanics that you're already familiar with if you've played a OGL compliant RPG. So your D&D proper, your Pathfinder, your OSR, what is an RPG, how does it work in a nutshell. I guess there's going to be semi-setting attached to this. If this is any indication, the fact that they said fantasy worlds have magic, well, not necessarily.
but most of us do want to play in one with magic. The basics about creating your character concepts, your proficiency bonus, that one's taken directly out of the player's handbook, for Pete's sake. Your ability scores, nothing has changed from anything that you've seen. It does have a slightly different point buy. I think the points are slightly different than D&D proper. The standard array, I believe, is also different, because I don't remember having two attributes that were this high, with one at 16 and one at 15. I could just be misremembering. It's been so long since I've played D&D proper. Again, I'm much more of an OSR guy. I like my old school Essentials or Castles and Crusades. But nothing in here that is going to be a shocker to anybody in the creation system. Pretty much everything that you already know. The progression system, and this is why I mean that they're going to be stuck having to put that this is based off of Wizards of the Coast, because this is copied one for one out of it, and I don't think there's enough material in here that they could say that they're derivative enough to get away from having to avoid that attribution mark in this document when they're done. So far, the only thing that they've released in their first packet, which is all about creating just the your character before class comes into effect, they have this new lineage and heritage system. So if you review the video I just did about Pathfinder 2nd Edition core rules up here, I just talked about how they have your races, which they call your, I think, heritage. I'm now forgetting after I just did that video the other day, where you essentially have your heritage that you go through. That was essentially a heritage feat system. So if you're familiar with D&D feats, you have your core race that you get, like they use here in the dwarf. You get your age, your size, your speed, and your night vision, and everything else is essentially just feats that you take as you level up. That seems to be present here. So taking that heritage system out of Pathfinder and taking it into a more directly compatible D&D product. Again, right now they only have just the dwarf and the elf, but it's very obvious that that's all they're doing, is just pulling those heritage feats and making them a little bit more streamlined for the type of gameplay that 5e players are used to. Your backgrounds, this is again just like as it appears in D&D 5.1 SRD. I think there you only have one, just to give you an example, but here they give you two. For, again, it's just the playtest, there'll be more. But you have your adventuring motivation instead of D&D, which I think put way too much junk in here when it had what is your motivation, what is your flaw, what is your driving personality type. It's like, that's how I want to play the character here. This takes the core mechanics of your background, your mechanical bonuses from the background, and just gives you one little tidbit of roll a d8 to decide your feelings as an adventurer. So it allows you to actually create everything and not be limited by the background system that Dungeons and Dragons uses. They've renamed feats to talents. Looking at this, you're going to have three types of feats that you're going to get: your martial talents, your magic talents, and then you're going to have sort of your more backup talents. Where are they? So mystic, martial, and technical talents. Again, these are just feats by another name and behave pretty much exactly the same way that you would in any other system. As I said, I wasn't sure how they were going to remain compatible. In my mind, I felt like it should be a slightly different system. As it stands, it's just right now, I won't say halfway. Think if you had it broken up into 4 quadrants, D&D on this side, Pathfinder on this side, they're essentially in the quadrant right after D&D. So they're not full D&D, they're definitely closer to D&D than they are to Pathfinder. But that seems to be the direction they're taking. So just off of this initial playtest packet, this is going to be, I feel, better for those who are wanting to escape Dungeons and Dragons into like Pathfinder Light. I myself prefer Pathfinder as a rulebook. Now, in general, I prefer OSR, but Pathfinder, because of how its difficulty plays, it's a little bit difficult to directly port over a Pathfinder adventure into 5th edition or vice versa, because the math that between the two are so vastly different. This really, you're never going to go beyond, very rarely you're going to see an AC or some sort of DC challenge check past 30, while Pathfinder you can at high levels get to 50 or 60. So if you're wanting to have a little bit more guidance to convert the two, this might be handy. I will reserve full judgment and a review towards the end of the series because I want to see what they come out with fully. I'm not going to judge this just based upon one look at the product before they have a chance to actually show the completed version of this. But that is what they've released so far with Project Black Flag. If you want, you can still sign up for it, where they'll email you directly from Kobold Press's website. I believe after people were confused where their email was, they finally put up the direct link on their website where you could download this directly. So if you want to get in on the Black Flag and stick it to Wizards one more time, this is going to be your option. If you still like D&D but want to sort of Pathfinder it, this is going to be, I suspect, the path you're going to want to take. As I said in the front of the video, there is currently a Humble Bundle link in the description down below. If you use that, you also help support this channel, where you can get some Kobold Press adventures. Now, all those adventures in that bundle are rated for 5e D&D. Again, all those were written well before this whole kerfuffle with WotC came out. So, though they don't explicitly state it in the Humble Bundle, I can't help but think that if they're going to be developing this is their active development project, that money that they're going to be getting in the short and midterm interims is going to be going to this. So if you do want to help Kobold Press with their development of this, again, it's not explicitly stated in the Humble Bundle, but I can't help but think implicitly that that money is going to help support Humble Bundle and, help Kobold Press as they are hopefully fully flesh out this product with their new Orc license, so that we can maintain the core of the RPG community, which is that collaborative community-built RPG joint product that we are well known for as a community, helping build upon each other's work to provide for a more enjoyable experience for all. So let me know what your thoughts are on Project Black Flag, what you've seen. If you think that it's just going to be sort of, again, D&D here, Pathfinder here, sort of in here-ish, on the scale from D&D to Pathfinder. If you think they're going to go more fully Pathfinder. If you thought that there was going to be a different system at play entirely. If you think I'm right and they're going to end up having to stick the Creative Commons attribution thing in here, let me know in the comments below. Get that discussion started. Get your kobold on, And just so you know, we also have a new weekly live stream that'll be going out every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See y'all there. Hope you have a good week. And raise that black flag, ye mateys, for... I'm just going to keep that in. That was so terrible an ending. Have a good one, y'all. See you next time. Jeez.